you check the children. Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Well, hello, Fright fans. Jaime and Fuego here, and jumping on to another Patreon review for Sam Glass. That is right. Shout out, good sir. And this is a discussion that I had previously attempted to film, and it did not turn out as well as I would have liked. It was too much camaraderie and, just fun with Cecil and with the rest of the gang here. But today I am talking about none other than David Cronenberg's 1978, I'm trying to double check, film Shivers. Yeah, 1975. Wow, 3 years off. So in the 70s, very fresh in my head is the fact that Brandon Cronenberg, David's son, has been doing stuff like Antiviral, Possessor. I just filmed a review of Infinity Pool. So there was a drastic difference as far as just abrasive stylism between, father and son, almost like a Stephen King with Joe Hill sort of bet. But Shivers, I love up until the back half, if I'm going to give just proper, all-encompassing sort of vibes. Shivers is really fascinating because of the fact that it is great low-budget filmmaking, and the fact that it all takes place in that skyrise. It's self-encompassing, and the fact that, excuse me, pretty much the entirety of the film is predicated on experiments that are done on the residents, and the fact that they are the essence of the petri dish, which is really weird. But so yeah, mid-70s Montreal, if I recall correctly. I can't remember. It's somewhere up in the Great White North, and shout out to all of our friends up there, most notably Dave McCrae and homies from Bloodbath and Beyond, Jay, and so on. But so this film starts out with a really aggressive rape scene, and that is one of the bits that has made me not as much of a champion of this film. Now, The Brood, as far as like another 70s bit that Cronenberg did that I feel like was similarly controversial and like in your face, and yet it gathered home its point without having to hit some of these, in regard. But unfortunately, yes, we have a young girl, early 20s probably, who is raped and taken advantage of and then cut up and whatever. But you find out later on that it is because of the fact that she was one of the guinea pigs for an experimental process that is going on throughout the entire community of trying to use parasites for like organ replication. There's a lot of science in one particular scene that is essentially thrown at you that justifies the behavior of these characters, and then it veers away and there's no additional, and it is just, oh, we have explained it. All these characters are nuts. They're all sexually depraved, violent, whatever. Kind of like Crossed, honestly. You guys have done the bit from the same dude who was responsible for The Boys and, Preacher. This has similar leanings and similar vibes, and yeah. And that's about it. Excuse me. So the big thing with this is that why not breed a parasite that can do something useful? And so there is an actual decent mindset behind what ends up spiraling out of control in this, this very posh skyrise of such. It's those who, okay, you drank yourself to death, failing liver, what are you going to do? Okay, well, wouldn't it be great if, and this is in the 70s, mind you, so before 3D printing, before all of these different things where you could like print an organ or have that particular possibility, it's very much like some of those big fish, for instance, where they have like the small little organisms that hang around their like underbodies, and they chow on the remnants of food that would potentially like slow them down, slug it up, whatever the hell it may be. So yeah, this film definitely epitomizes that, and I like the lead character. I really do. If we're gonna, since I've said that I'm a little ho-hum on this film, so I really love it until the third act, if I'm gonna surmise it properly. Third act, though, is where they start to lose me, and it just veers into all-out just shock for shock value depravity, and so there is that. But I am amused by the imperviousness of this lead doctor, older than his nurse, who gets like buck-ass naked early in the film and is trying to seduce him. He maintains the course because you know what? His character cares, which is cool. Yeah, somebody who is not going to be thwarted by distractions is pretty awesome. I'm not going to deny that. And so that is the thing where this guy who is, he has connections with the previous people, including the guy who did the rape and killing and all of those experiments of the people in the building, which is really messed up. But our main character has, some sort of connectivity and intrigue. And so for that reason, yeah, doing his own thing and not just veering into what would be boring to the audience. And the film finds its stride. It gets gory, it gets sexual, it gets crazy. I mean, we're talking girls kissing each other, we're talking, unnecessary violence and throat ripping and elevators and all kinds of craziness. So yeah, it's definitely trying to like push buttons and do its thing. But it really loses its luster in the explanation aspect and also in the final little window of explanation. So, not bad, but definitely significantly solid. As I consult my notes a little bit further, there is a bizarre sexual things that is transpiring. Oh yeah, the bathtub scene. Goodness Lord. So she's not our main character, but I guess in a lot of ways she's our main female character, or she's at least dueling with the nurse. And so this woman, she has a husband who has been obviously experimented upon by these weird trials that are going down with people in the building. And the husband veers away, and then he comes back and he's acting crazy and strange and all this other stuff. And she goes to see a friend of hers. She goes and sees her friend who is very like free love, like let's have some wine and you're my neighbor, let's make out, let's do our thing, whatever. That girl ends up in a bathtub with something very dire and crazy transpiring. It's probably one of the most notorious bits in this particular film. Yeah, and yet there's very cathartic bits of dialogue in this, that even dying is an act of eroticism. I think that most definitely sets the groundwork for what Cronenberg, David Cronenberg, the father, was going to do in so much that he did after the fact. And the fact that there is this grotesque transformation about these people, but they still don't lose sight of their hedonistic and carnal and those sort of just desires and just drawing aspects and stuff. And it's only accentuated and amped up, and that's where I made the cross, or the sadness actually is another good one, to make the as far as stuff that has been done previously that is in a similar vein to Shivers. And Shivers, really, I still don't like it very much. I feel like it veers in the shock value significantly in the third act. The acting is top notch throughout. I will not toss out a detriment in that regard, but yeah, Sam Glass, I don't love this one compared to certain other David Cronenbergs, and that's not because of the fact that I'm just like, oh, I'm so straight-laced and, blah, 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 because some of the things I've said, I'm not. Definitely. But I still feel like this is really, it's just trying, it feels like it's trying too hard in some ways, and that is all too often what happens with filmmakers when they're early in their career. They try really hard to get people's attention by overblowing it, and like they blow their load too quick or whatever. And so for that reason, Shivers, Sam Glass, love you, man. But this film, it's still, even upon this recent rewatch, and I've rewatched it this week. I tried filming a review of it a few months ago, but I was a little too negative on it, and I think this is a more just like even-handed sort of viewpoint on it. The fact that yeah, great actors, interesting story. I like the ingenuity of the fact that it's like a singular place, but it didn't feel like it had as much cathartically to say. So that's just me personally, Sam. But gracias, I've been Jaime and Fuego. You can find Wa on all social media sectors, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube. Greatly appreciated. Like, share, subscribe. Most of these are seen strictly and specifically on the Horror Show YouTube channel, though. So I think you can still subscribe and like and recommend. So, hey, guys, spread the word. We appreciate it so very much. And, yeah, until the Wheel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, San Amigos, constant readers and viewers alike, say thank you. Hopeful we share more of this palaver sooner rather than later. I'm making sure this is still filming, recording. And remember, stay scared. Yeah.